Hello and welcome to Jerry's Cornish Kitchen. And today I'm going to do a twist on a British classic. I'm doing rhubarb and custard Victoria sponge. Now along the way I'll also show you, if you want to make a classic Victoria sponge, how to do that. And I'll also be giving you a little bit of history on rhubarb and Bird's instant custard powder. So there you go. You're going to learn something, possibly. Anyway, let's crack on, get the ingredients out, shall we? So here's our ingredients for our rhubarb jam. Now, as I say, if you want to make a classic Victoria sponge, don't make the rhubarb jam and just use a good quality strawberry jam or raspberry jam. But to make our rhubarb jam, I have 200 grams of chopped rhubarb. I have 180 grams of jam sugar. Now it's important to have jam sugar because rhubarb does not have enough pectin in to set the jam sufficiently. So we use a jam sugar which contains pectin. And we also have 20 ml of orange juice. Right, let me show you how to put this together. So to start off our jam, we get a stainless steel saucepan and we put some of the sugar into the bottom, then some of the rhubarb, then some of the sugar, some of the rhubarb, some of the sugar, and finally the last bit of the rhubarb, and we cover that with our jam sugar. And then we pour over the 20 ml of orange juice. Now we're going to leave this for between an hour and 2 hours. You could leave it overnight. And what this will do is draw out some of the juices from the rhubarb, which will make the rhubarb much firmer and less likely to fall apart when we cook it to make our jam. So we put our saucepan with the rhubarb, sugar and orange juice onto a moderate heat, and we're going to bring it up to the boil. In the fridge I have a saucer which I'm going to use to check the setting point of our jam. Once our jam comes up to the boil, we boil it rapidly for about 5 minutes. Now at this point I use a digital thermometer and I check the temperature of it, and it should be 105 degrees. This is the setting point of our jam. Now my jam has reached 105 degrees, so I'm now going to take it off. But to show you, if you've not got a jam thermometer, what you do, you put a small amount of the jam onto your saucer which you've had in the fridge, leave it for a short period of time, and you'll see whether it's set or not. So I'm now going to take my jam off and I'm going to put it into a sterilised glass jar. Now to sterilise the glass jar, I've had it in the oven for a few minutes at 100 degrees. Once the jam has gone into our sterilised jar, we're going to put it to one side and we're going to allow it to cool completely before we use it with our sponge. And as you can see, here's my saucer and my jam has absolutely set. So there you go, 105 degrees, or use a cold saucer. So here's our ingredients for our sponge. Now we have 225 grams of self-raising flour, 225 grams of caster sugar. I use 225 grams of a baking margarine. Now if you want to, you could use unsalted butter, but baking margarine is so much cheaper and the difference isn't much. And 4 whole eggs, a tablespoon of custard powder and a teaspoon of baking powder. Now if you want to make a classic Victoria sponge, leave out the custard powder. Now fascinating about custard powder was created by a chemist called Alfred Bird. Now his wife had 2 allergies. One was eggs and one was yeast. So she couldn't have custard because she couldn't eat eggs. So he wanted to create something so his wife could have custard. And he came up with custard powder, which contains no eggs. Now he's also responsible for this little one, baking powder, because as I say, his wife couldn't have yeast, so he wanted to create a rising agent that wasn't yeast, and he created baking powder. So there we go, Alfred Bird, we owe you a lot. Thank you very much. Right, let's put this together and make this sponge, shall we? So for my Victoria sponge, I use 2 8-inch sponge tins. Now these are non-stick loose bottom sponge tins. We need to line these, and to do that I put a tiny bit of oil in the bottom of the dish. I then get a piece of greaseproof paper, a square, fold it in half, fold it in half, fold it in half, and fold it in half. I put the point into the middle of the tin, cut it like that. We end up with a circle, in it goes, swivel it round in the oil, and that's the bottom of our tin, perfectly lined. So I then melt a little bit of butter in a microwave, in a little pot. Give it a nice little greasing. Then with my flour shaker, and that is completely lined, and the sponge will pop out beautifully. Right, let's make the sponge. To make our sponge, we put 225 grams of margarine into our bowl. We then add our 225 grams of sugar into our bowl, and now we're going to give it a quick whisk. So there we go, nicely creamed up. Now we're going to add our eggs and our flour. So I put my flour, baking powder, custard powder into a small bowl. Give it a good whisk. This is just to make sure that all the ingredients are incorporated. It also makes sure there's no lumps in the flour. I've also cracked the eggs into a bowl because I don't want to crack them into my sponge mix and get bits of shell in my sponge mix. Nothing worse than a crunchy sponge. So now we're just going to whisk, add some egg, add some flour, add some egg, add some flour, add the last egg and the remainder of our flour. Quick scrape down the side of the bowl. And another quick whisk. And that's our sponge mix ready. Before I divide my mixture up into the two dishes, I have preheated my oven to 190 degrees centigrade, which is 170 fan, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, or gas mark 5. Right, let's divide this up. And we'll just level them both out. Right, so these are going to go into the middle of my oven, and they will take about 30 minutes, but keep an eye on them. They want to be lightly browned, and if you test them with a skewer in the middle, it wants to come out clean. So I'm going to put them in. I'll check on them in about 25, but I reckon they'll need about 30 minutes. So there's our lovely sponges. As you can see, I tested this one. The skewer went in and it came out clean. They took exactly 30 minutes, and I'm going to let them cool here for about 5 minutes. Then I'll pop them out onto a wire rack and let them cool completely. In the meantime, I can get on and make the butter icing. So here's my ingredients for my butter icing. I have 150 grams of icing sugar, 75 grams of unsalted butter, and yes, I use unsalted butter. Please do not use baking margarine for butter icing. I've got 2 tablespoons of custard powder, 2 tablespoons of milk, and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Now, if you're making a classic Victoria sponge, leave out the custard powder. Right, let's get this made up, shall we? So to make our butter icing, we're going to add our 75 grams of butter. and our icing sugar into a nice big glass bowl. I then give it a little mix into the butter with my spatula, because icing sugar is incredibly fine. This will stop the dust covering my kitchen as I whisk it with my hand blender. Right, let's have a look. So we give the sides a quick scrape down. And we just want to make sure this is light and fluffy. So next we're going to add in our teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of custard powder and 2 tablespoons of milk. Again, give the sides a scrape down and give it one last whisk. And there we have it. Our beautiful butter icing is done. Now all we have to do is make sure our sponges are completely cold before we assemble. It is important, it'll just melt the icing. Now that our sponges are completely cool, it's time to assemble. So this is the sponge that I put the skewer in to check for doneness. So we're going to turn this one upside down. And just this once, I know I'm Cornish and I always say jam first, but for this recipe, I'm actually going to put the buttercream on first. So whilst I assemble the cake, let me tell you a little bit about the history of rhubarb. Now, rhubarb is fascinating. In the 1600s, rhubarb was grown in China and Asia, and it was used, the dried roots anyway, were used as a purgative, and it was incredibly popular in Britain. And the price of dried rhubarb at one stage actually was more expensive than opium. So they decided that they would go to China and bring back some rhubarb, which they duly did. Unfortunately, the variety of rhubarb that they brought back from China was not a purgative. It was the culinary rhubarb. So suddenly people had this beautiful rhubarb that was no good for its purpose, but they found it was wonderful to eat. So it was used in the 1600s and people would eat it. Unfortunately, the price of sugar was so prohibitive that rhubarb didn't really take off until much later on when sugar became cheaper. Now, in Kew Gardens, they had some rhubarb, and some builders were there over the winter, and they buried the rhubarb. They didn't know it was there, obviously it dies back, and they buried the rhubarb with loads of rubble. Imagine their surprise in the spring when out of that rubble there were green leaves. Oh my God, we put our rubble on something. What's this? They pulled away all the rubble, and there was the most beautiful, tender, bright pink stems of rhubarb. And that was the discovery of how to force rhubarb. And it's been done since in what they call the rhubarb triangle in Yorkshire. And in the 1900s, there used to be overnight trains from Yorkshire carrying tons of rhubarb from Yorkshire down to London for the morning markets. Because at that stage rhubarb had become very, very popular. So there you go, rhubarb. It's a fascinating, started off as a purgative, ended up in my Victoria sponge. So there you go. So as you can see, we've put the butter icing on the bottom, plenty of jam on the top, and now gently we're going to put the top on our sponge. Last but not least, we get some more icing sugar and we put it through a little sieve and And we cover the top of our sponge with a nice amount of icing sugar. And I like a nice amount of icing sugar, but then I think you already know that I've got a bit of a sweet tooth. So here's our beautiful sponge. I'm going to try and cut a piece out. Now I'm going to cut a decent slice. And the only reason I'm cutting a decent slice is it's easier to get out. It's not because I want to eat a big piece. Honestly. Well, maybe I do. Oh, beautiful. So how does that look? A perfect rhubarb and custard Victoria sponge. Light, sweet, a little bit of sharpness from the rhubarb. It's perfect, I promise you. Very, very easy. And as I say, if you don't want to make a rhubarb sponge, just use a good quality raspberry jam and a normal butter icing and leave out the custard powder. But I promise you, this one's a bit special. So there we have it. A classic British cake with a classic British twist. Rhubarb and custard Victoria sandwich. It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Jerry's Cornish Kitchen, and if you have, please subscribe, press the like button and leave a comment. As I always say, try it and tell us what you think. And I hope to see you again, and thank you so much for watching. Bye for now. Look at that. Yummy.